Hello, everyone, and a warm welcome to the Directions Live online webinar series. My name is Ame, and I will be your host for today's session. You are joining us today for a webinar on Arcade in ArcGIS Dashboards. So, in this session, you will discover how you can apply Arcade for advanced formatting in ArcGIS Dashboards. This webinar also delivers insider tips and also practical steps to help you customize and refine your data display to ensure that your dashboard can truly stand out. So, joining us today as our speaker is Mr. Iril, our technology consultant in Esri, Malaysia. He provides technical assistance and also consultations in the implementation of Esri's extensive product line. So, without further ado, let's get started with today's webinar, and I'll pass this over to Iril. Over to you, Iril.
Okay, thank you, Amir, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar session. Okay, so our topic today is Arcade in ArcGIS Dashboard. So I will share with you guys on some capabilities of Arcade and what you can do with it in ArcGIS Dashboard. Okay, so without further ado, let's start our session. Okay, so these are the things that I want to highlight in this session where I'm going to share about what is Arcade first. And then maybe there are some our participants who didn't already know about ArcGIS Arcade before this, and maybe some of us today is never heard about it before. So I will share a little bit about the overview of Arcade. And then I want to highlight about the potential of ArcGIS Arcade across the system. So we will see on where you can use Arcade in your ArcGIS environment. Okay, and then let's see how Arcade can be in action in ArcGIS dashboard and how we can enhance our dashboard using Arcade. Okay, and then on the last part, I will show you some demonstration on how we can use Arcade for advanced formatting in ArcGIS dashboard. Okay, so let's look at on what is ArcGIS Arcade first. ArcGIS Arcade is a portable, lightweight, and secure expression language written for use in ArcGIS. Okay, so let's look at one by one on each features of ArcGIS Arcade. Okay, so portable. ArcGIS Arcade is portable because the arcade expression that you write in one part of ArcGIS can be shared to the rest of ArcGIS. So you can create an expression for labeling features in a web map that created in ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise. And then you can copy and use the same expression in ArcGIS Pro for labeling features in a map layer. And then finally, apply the same expression to a feature layer in the ArcGIS API for JavaScript application. Okay, so the second one is lightweight. ArcGIS Arcade is lightweight in that you can use Arcade wherever ArcGIS runs. Okay, so you can use it in a desktop application such as ArcGIS Pro, in a browser-based web application created in ArcGIS Online or with the ArcGIS API for JavaScript, or in a native application with for mobile devices. Okay, so the third one is secure. ArcGIS Arcade is secure in that there's no executable code. So the expression that you write with Arcade cannot be executed outside of ArcGIS. Okay, so they only work within an ArcGIS application. So you cannot use Arcade to build an application or run an analysis or automate a task. Arcade run in specific well-documented situations. Okay, and then the last but not least is a special language. So it's an special language. Arcade is used to write statements that when executed by ArcGIS, so return result they are used to create a label for features shown on a map or provide value used for rendering this feature or to check a features class in a geo database for valid and invalid attribute data or to format the data shown in the ArcGIS dashboard element. Okay, now let's look at on where we can use Arcade in ArcGIS environment. Okay, ArcGIS Arcade is a focus language for specifically defined use in ArcGIS. Arcade was written to help you make better maps, better interactive apps, or to provide higher quality data, or to make data easier to understand. Okay, so on my screen right now, so this where you can use ArcGIS Arcade. Okay, so everywhere apps, so you can use Arcade in everywhere app such as ArcGIS Online. So you can use to enhance the visualization of your 2D map in a map viewer or 3D scene in a scene viewer by applying some custom calculation to format the data values or to synthesize the data into a meaningful category and conditionally set pop-up field value. Okay, so other than that, you can also Arcade can also can be used to enhance the visualization of your application that has been created using ArcGIS dashboard, story map, and instant app. Okay, so on the ArcGIS Enterprise, so Arcade can be used to create custom content like a pop-up, labels, and style within a web map by defining the rules to manipulate data in real time. Okay, so essentially providing a way to dynamically format and display information based on the attribute values and a geometric calculation. So making it accessible across various ArcGIS applications like Pro, online, and the mobile apps due to its portability features. Okay, and then ArcGIS Pro. So in ArcGIS Pro, Arcade can be used to create a custom visualization, a labels, pop-ups, and perform calculation or manipulate data directly. Okay, in ArcGIS Pro, you can also use Arcade to write a simple expression to manipulate data values, format text, and perform a logical operation. So essentially providing a way to dynamically generate content based on the data without needing to modify the underlying data schema. Okay, on the ArcGIS runtime, so you can use Arcade to create a custom calculation, visualization, and labeling expression within the application by manipulating data directly through simple scripting. Okay, so similar to how it's functioned in other ArcGIS platform like Pro and Online. So essentially, you can write the custom Arcade expression to dynamically generate content on your map based on your data attribute and geometry within the runtime environment. Okay, and then on the big data, so you can Arcade can be used to analyze and visualize a complex pattern within a massive data volume. So particularly within the ArcGIS Velocity platform for a big data analytic, essentially is enabled on-the-fly data manipulation and analysis without needing to pre-process or significantly alter the raw data structure. Yeah, and then on the last here is JavaScript API. So Arcade can be used to perform mathematical calculation and evaluate logical statement in visualization, pop-up content, and label within ArcGIS apps, such as ArcGIS Runtime API and the Map SDK for JavaScript. Okay, so when the expression is altered in one of these products, it can be saved to a web map, loaded and evaluated in other apps. So this gives you a flexibility for defining a custom content that you can persistent and evaluated consistent in ArcGIS application. Okay, now let's look at on what Arcade can do in ArcGIS dashboard. Okay, so in ArcGIS dashboard, so Arcade can be used for the two different purposes. So the first one is data expression. So data expression are used all data drives dashboard element and can be used as a data source just like any other layer in a dashboard. Okay, so you can access existing data set using a feature set by portal item function, and the return data tag for data expression is a feature set. Okay, so for example, if you have a layer in your web map and you want to do some customization on the output feature set, such as do calculation between multiple attribute values or the combination on the multiple attribute values. So you can use Arcade to create a data expression for the layer output. Okay, another one is advanced formatting. So in ArcGIS Dashboard, so you can use advanced formatting to format your indicators, list, and table elements by enhance the style properties or attribute value for custom visualization. Okay, so formatting expression are used to format the element in dashboard, and they must return a dictionary of name value pairs. So the dictionary will be unique to the element, so you can reference data points from your layer using the profile variable, data point profile variable, and you can also use the reference variable if a reference value is enabled in your indicator. Okay, so these are the sample cool things that you can do in your ArcGIS dashboard. Okay, so sometimes when you are using a default style and configuration on the element in ArcGIS dashboard, so there will be a limitation on the data visualization that you want to deliver to your target audience. Okay, so with Arcade, so this is the best solution lah for you to break the limitation. Okay, so you can enhance your dashboard visualization by implement the Arcade in indicator elements. Okay, so on ArcGIS dashboard, so there is an option for user to enable Arcade for styling their indicator element. So attributes can be referenced using the data point global variable in the Arcade editor. So from your expression, you will return the properties that define how the indicator renders. So user can use Arcade to enhance the indicator element such as set the background color based on the attribute value, text size, change the icon used dynamically with a conditional statement. Okay, other than indicator, you can also use Arcade for implement the advanced formatting on the list element. So basically, it for reveal more information from your data. So when you are using a default configuration on the element styles, so it can use on the certain data only for visualization. Okay, so when you are using Arcade, you can define how each line item renders by display the differences using the different style and data based on the conditional statement. Okay, on the list element, you can also enhance the elements such as the background color, text color, and attribute that you want to display. Okay, so other than that, you can also use Arcade to enhance your table element in ArcGIS dashboard. Okay, so user can use Arcade to control the content of the cell in terms of how your data should appear in the table cell. Okay, so the table value can be plain text, or you can format it using HTML format to make your information more stunning. Okay, so other than that, you can also enhance the table element, such as do a value formatting on each content of your table, highlight values on row and mark cells with icon and hover text to give more information on the data to your audience. Okay, so to make it more clear, let me show you a demonstration on how we can use Arcade to enhance this dashboard using ArcGIS dashboards. Okay. Okay, so let's say currently I have a dashboard about the aircraft flight radar in the Malaysia area. Okay, so inside this dashboard, there are indicator element that used to display the number of flight based on the current operation or current status. And then the list element here, so show the list of flight with details, and also the table element that show the attribute values of each flight. Okay, so by default, it will only show the information with the default configuration that available in ArcGIS dashboard. Okay, so from here, I have enhanced the dashboard by applying advanced formatting on the element lah that available on here. So, for example, you can see this is the default configuration or default set style. So this is the arcade expression I apply lah or implement on this list element here. So you can see lah the difference between the visualization with arcade here and also with the default configuration. Okay, so now let me show you guys on how we can use arcade on this. Okay, so let's say I want to enhance the indicators element first. So for example, I want to make the background color dynamically change if some condition meet. Okay, so I can go to the setting here. Okay, and then in the indicator section here, so you will see the advanced formatting option. So you can click enable to use the arcade lah for advanced formatting. Okay, so from here, this is where you can use arcade. Okay, so to use arcade, the first thing that you need to do is you need to declare the variable that will be used to assign the value lah. Okay, so for example, I'm going to declare a new variable for background color. Okay, so for back. Okay, okay, and then I will use the conditional statement on the value. Okay, so for example, I will use a sound range to define the different color on here. Let me. Okay, so for example, I'm going to use this conditional statement. Okay, so for example, if the number shown between this range, for example, from 0 until 50, so it will assign the code color to the variable with this code lah. Okay, so same goes to the other conditional statement as well. Okay, and then I will return the variable into the property value here lah. Okay, on the return section here, I will set the variable on this background color property. Okay, so now the color has been followed by the assigned color from the conditional statement lah. Okay. Okay, so every time the number on the indicator change, so basically it will identify it first. So which range it could be, and then it will assign the code color for the background color lah. And then it will return to the background color property on this indicator element. Okay, so from here I can also use the same code on the other indicator as well lah. Okay, so for example, I'm going to use on this indicator. Sorry, then to back color. Okay, so another one is okay. So now, so when the number change in this indicator, indicator element, so the background color will also change dynamically. Okay, so you can see here what the difference before we use arcade and now after we use arcade up on this indicator element. Okay, so other than indicator, basically you can also use it on the other properties such as text color, text size on here, and also the icon, and together with the attributes values. Okay, now let's look at on the list element. Okay, so same as indicator, list also has an option to do the advanced formatting using Arcade. So you can click on this configure here and go to the list section here. Okay, so by default, we can only format and styling our list element using the predefined and configuration on the template section here. Okay, so on here we can use the attribute values to display the information. Okay, so let's say, for example, I want to enhance this list element by applying some style and format to make it more stunning. Okay, so basically I can enable the advanced formatting. Okay, so from here I will start to declare the variable that I need to use lah. Okay, so for example, I'm going to declare this variable. Okay, so let's say I will declare the image variable icon status that will assign the current status of the flight and also the background color lah, or it will be the mark color for the each list here. Okay. Okay, and then after that, I will use the sum conditional statement here. Okay. Okay, so let's say I will use this conditional statement. Okay, so for example, this conditional statement will assign the current status of the flight and also the background color for the current status of the flight. So by using the altitude value lah. So basically, it will check first on the each range the altitude of each flight. Yeah, and then it will assign the values lah on the variable here. Okay, and then after that, I will return the properties for the style and the data value to be rendered on my list element lah. Okay, so I'm going to return. So I'm going to use this return properties. Okay, so I will return a sum of the properties such as the text color, background color, separator and selection color, and also the sum of attribute values on the properties here. Okay, so after that, I will customize the layout on the template section here. So on the template section here, I will customize the layout that will be used to display the new list lah, or the new style of the list. Okay, so basically you can insert the expression from here one by one, or you can use the HTML format in order to customize the layout. Okay, so for example, I will use the HTML format. Okay, and then now, once done, basically your list will be enhanced by showing the information with a different way and a different style to your target audience. Okay, so basically, that is how you can use Arcade to enhance your list element in your dashboard. Okay, so you can see the different before we use Arcade on the list element here, and after we use Arcade on list element. Okay, now let's look at on the last element, which is a table. Okay, so table in ArcGIS Dashboard also can apply advanced formatting using Arcade. Okay, so by default, you can still use the default configuration option to visualize your table. Okay, so but it's also an option lah for you to use Arcade in advanced formatting. Okay, so let's say, for example, my dashboard now has a table element show the attribute value from the layer in a table form here. So on this existing visualization, so there is not much information lah can be delivered from here. Okay, so on here we can enhance more to make this table element to be more informative. Okay, so for example, you can do something like this. Okay, go to the values here. Okay, so for example, let's say I want to differentiate the altitude values based on the current status of the flight. Okay, so what I can do here, I can enable the advanced formatting. Okay, so same goes to the other element. Okay, first thing that we need is to declare the variable. Okay, okay, so let's say I will declare the variable that I need to use first. Okay, so I'm going to use these three variables. So the status, basically the variable that we assign the current status of the flight, the background color, and so the icon that will be used lah. Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to use the sum conditional statement to assign the value into the declared variable. Okay. So I'm going to use this conditional statement. Okay, so basically by the altitude value, so it will define the range here. So for example, more than 0, less or equal than 1,000, and then it will assign the value to the status variable. So the background color for the code, for the color code here. Okay, and then I will return this color code on the altitudes cell here. Okay, so for example, on here I will assign the background color properties with the variable code, with the variable color code. Okay, so from here you can see now the column has been differentiated by the different color in order to provide user about the current status on the color of the flight based on the altitude value. Okay, so let's say other than that, we can also enhance the table element by including icon in each cell. Okay, so for example, I'm going to add the icon in the flight number cell here to indicate the current status of the flights. So I will add the icon first on this icon section here. Okay, so I'm going to use this icon to indicate the operating status. And then I will add the other icon. For example, I'm going to use this one for indicate the parking status. Okay, and then I will use the sum conditional statement on here to assign or to indicate the status based on the current status of the flight. Okay, so let's say if the status rated is a parking here, okay, the status is a parking here, so the icon will be used the parking one lah. Okay, so other than that, it will use the operating one lah. Okay, and then on the flight number cell here, so I will return the icon that has been assigned by using the conditional statement. Okay, and then on here, on the icon name here, I will set the property with the icon. Okay, now you see, so basically the flight number cell here has include icon to indicate the current status of the flight. Okay, and then from here you can also adjust the hover text here to provide more information on the table element. Okay, so for example, I'm going to use the multiple values from the multiple attribute. Okay, attribute values. Okay, for example, let's say I want to use on the hover here, something like this. Okay, so this flight is 3. And then I will call the status variable on here. Okay, and then I will use the text again. And then now I will use the data point variable from the profile variable here. So I will call the depart location. And then for the arrive location. Okay, so basically you can see lah once the user hover the mouse to the on the flight number on the each cell. So basically it will provide them more information lah about the current status of the flight. City. Okay, so by using Arcade, could be the best way lah for you to play the limitation of your dashboard visualization and enhance your dashboard lah. So basically, there is a how some of the way that you can enhance your dashboard with Arcade. Okay, so here are some resources. Maybe you guys can refer in order to get more information and more familiar with Arcade. Okay, so I think that's all from me on the Arcade in ArcGIS Dashboard. So I hope it can give you some overview and a benefit for you guys lah. Okay, so now I will pass back to Amel. Okay, so over to you, Amel.
Okay, thank you, Iril. That was a really informative sharing that we had just now on Arcade in Dashboards. So we see that we can do a lot of interesting things to make your dashboard so-called become more dynamic. So it's not just a static design. So as you can see, Arcade allows you to tweak your dashboard further, and you can make your dashboard pop out and stand out compared to regular designs. Okay, so it's time for us to review some of the questions that are in the being sent in. So if you haven't had the chance to type up, we can still get a few more questions in, though we have limited time now. So in the meantime, let's go through the first question. Okay, Iril, the first question that I have here is from Nisa. The question goes, can we use Arcade in ArcGIS Experience Builder instead?
Okay, so thank you, Amel, for the question. Okay, so it's a very, very nice question. Yes. Okay, so currently there is no arcade in ArcGIS Experience Builder, but in ArcGIS Experience Builder, there is a built-in special language that can be used to perform calculation, manipulate text, and evaluate a logical statement. Okay, so normally user will use Arcade to perform a calculation on their map during the creation of the map in the ArcGIS map viewer, and then they can use it on the ArcGIS Experience Builder. Okay, so maybe we can share this to every community ideas to bring Arcade in Experience Builder. Okay, so that will be a great. Okay. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Iril. So let's take a look at the second question that is coming in. How do I share my Arcade expressions that has been created with others? Question from Arthur.
Okay. All right. So thank you for the question, Arthur. Okay. So in order to share Arcade expression to others, so it depends on the way that you want to share lah, to share the expression lah. So normally, if user want to share the Arcade expression within their organization, okay, so that's mean private tree. So they will save the product such as web map, dashboard that contains the Arcade expression. And then from there, other team members can access the Arcade expression lah. Okay, so there is a way for user to share Arcade to public. So they need to create the Arcade expression template and use every Arcade expression GitHub. Okay, so you can try to search for the Esri Arcade expression GitHub. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Ariel. And then we have the third question over here, which is kind of an interesting question, which I also have in mind. So the question code is from Rashid. If we are using Arcade to visualize elements on the dashboard, will it affect the performance of the dashboard? Over to you, Ariel.
Okay, so thanks, Amit, for the question. So it's very interesting question that we got here. Yes, so okay, so if you ask me, so the answer is definitely yes. Okay, so using arcade expression in ArcGIS dashboard can potentially impact its performance, especially if the arcade expression are complex or involve heavy calculation as they are executed on the client side. Uh, and can slow down the rendering of the dashboard element. Okay, so particularly when dealing with a large data set. Okay, so but there are some optimization technique that you can follow to mitigate the performance issue. Okay, so such as avoid unnecessary calculation, optimize expression, and use the appropriate data types. Okay, so basically, AZ has provided some of the best practice that you can follow lah in order to avoid the performance issue of the dashboard when using the ArcGIS Arcade. Okay, so thank you.
Right, thank you, Ariel. So we have a last question I'm going to take over here, but I'll be answering this question. Is the webinar being recorded and asking the link to the recording? Yes, it's a question from Faris, and especially to everyone joining today. Yes, the webinar will be recorded and it will be available soon. You can have a look at the recording later if you visit our website www.srimalaysia.com.my under the webinar section, and you'll be able to review back or rewatch back this recording. So I think that brings us to the end of the questions that we have. So due to the time constraint, but don't worry, for any other additional questions that I did not manage to address over here, we will get back to you for the remaining questions. So thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you again next time on the Direction Live online webinar series. And for now, goodbye and have a nice day.